tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad. Because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel. And 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor. But the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald! The animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor, and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing, and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes, when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I am dancing? Yes, I'm dancing. I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him, quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen! How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love.
Hi guys, welcome back to your e-learning with me. We're on week 2, Wednesday. Please don't forget the day. Don't lose track of time. It is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. And we have Zoom tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Zoom tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Hey, Zoom tomorrow at 12. Do it with me at 12 o'clock. Don't miss out. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And we just get to talk and have fun and see each other and see my kids and see the shenanigans that happens in my house and how my kids get on my nerves. So just join the fun. Today is your ELA lesson for this video. And we are doing pages 41 through 45. All right, so get those ELA packets ready. And we are doing page 41 through 45. 41 through 45. Do it with me. 41 through 45. 41 through 45. 41 through. All right, so today we're continuing our lesson. We're continuing our lesson on understanding characters. So this is just a few pages. Pages 41 and 42 are just pages to kind of help you understand characters. It is very, very important. I think I said it yesterday. It's very, very important for you to understand the character in a text. And when I say text, I mean story. It's very, very important for you to understand the character, for you to understand how they think, how they feel, what they're saying, what they're doing, because it gives you a better understanding of the story altogether. So if you don't understand the character, then it's kind of going to be hard for you to kind of put the story together. So sometimes things that characters say, like for an example, if you say please and thank you, um, eventually people are going to think, oh, you are very well mannered. You're nice and respectful, all because you tend to say um, pleasurable things like please and thank you. People automatically assume that you're probably a nice person. So even if no one tells us that someone has good manners, it's what they do, it's what they say, it's how they act that makes us think that they have good manners, even if no one ever tells us about them. So in Beauty and the Beast, Belle was the princess who offered her dad help to go to the dungeon so that he can go free. So her dad ended up getting lost in the woods, right? And so eventually the beast finds him in the woods and takes him for capture and locks him in a dungeon in his castle. And Belle, his daughter, was like, "Oh my God, my dad! Oh my God! Oh my God, my dad! He got captured by the beast! Oh my God!" And she felt like she needed to go save him. So even though she was a woman and she didn't know where she was going and she was scared and she was sad, she still said, no, that's my dad. He's very important to me and I need to go save him. So we know that more than likely Belle was nice. She was giving. She was loving. And she really, really cared about her dad. We can tell that from her actions that she showed in the story. So it's very important for us to pay attention to how we read the characters in the story. So at the bottom of page 42, um, they give us a short story, and actually, you're going to be doing something like this with the story that you're doing today. It says Pickles tries to slide down the pole like the fireman, but it's not easy. When Pickles says, bumps or no bumps, I must try again, It reminds me of how hard it can be to learn something new. But Pickles doesn't give up. I think that this shows that he is a determined cat. He wants to learn everything he can about living in the firehouse. So, based off of that story, um, record the details on the character chart. What does the character do? Well, he tries again and again to slide down the pole. Well, what does he say that kind of goes with that? Bumps or no bumps, I must try again. So him trying again down the pole to be like a fireman, he's also saying things like, let me try again, bumps or no bumps, which means miss or no miss, I'm still going to try. How does the character feel? He feels determined. And what I think about the character, well, when it asks you do I think or what do you think, is asking your personal thoughts. And that's when you come up with a story from your brain. Pickles works hard to learn new things. He doesn't give up. So right here it says that you select a read aloud and you're going to do page 3, the character chart. So on page 42, sometimes you can pick one thing that happens in the story and you can kind of guess how that character is. So, for an example, let me think. Uh, from the book Henry's Freedom Box, when we learned that he was sad that his family got sold um, on the slavery count. His kids and his wife all got sold into slavery, right? And we found out that the reason why his wife and kids got sold was because his wife's master ran out of money, so he needed money, so he sold them. And so, even though he had no family, he had nothing, he still was determined, right? And so we knew he was determined because he decided to come up with a master plan of how to escape slavery by mailing himself literally in a box. He put himself in a box and he literally was like nailed on a boat and was sent up to Philadelphia. And so sometimes parts of a story, you don't even have to read the whole story. Sometimes part of a story help you understand how a character really is. Um, so why do you think the character did what they did? Why do you think the character said what they said? If you were the character, how would you feel? How would you describe the character to someone if they don't read a story? Those are all questions that you need to ask yourself when you're reading. On page 43, this is your character chart paper that you're going to use for your next story on page 44. So, on page 44, it is called The Snowstorm. And I want you to predict what you think this story is going to be about before you read it. All right, and so here we go again with another realistic fiction, which means it could happen in real life, but the story's not really real. So you're going to read this story of the snowstorm, and you're going to fill in this graphic organizer on page 43. And on the line that says name, I actually want you to write the character's name. Okay? I actually want you to write the character's name, the main character. I want you to write their name on that line. Okay? And then you're going to fill out, what does the character do? What does the character say? How does the character feel? And what do you think about the character? Now, what a character does and says usually can be found right in the story. And remember, I taught you when you read and you're trying to answer questions, always go back to the story. what the character does and what the character says always can be found in the story. But how the character feels, sometimes that can't be found in the story. So we have to infer. Infer means using information in the story and connecting it with what we already know. And kind of saying, like back in our cat story, it says nothing about him being determined in this story. The word determined is nowhere in this story. But we infer that he's determined because why? He doesn't give up. He says that he must try again. And uh, he tries again and again to go down the pole. Those are all signs of someone who is determined. All right? So, going back into your story, what they do and what they say can be found right in the story. You don't have to guess. How they feel can sometimes they'll tell you, "Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, I felt sad when she did that. Oh, this makes me so happy." Sometimes it'll tell you in the story how they feel, but sometimes it doesn't. You kind of got to figure it out by using what's in the story. And what you think, what I think is coming from your brain. You can't find that in the story anywhere. It comes straight from your brain. So, you're going to read this story, fill out your graphic organizer, and you're going to answer these questions. Questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? You're going to answer those questions. So, once again, you're going to read this story, fill out this graphic organizer, and answer questions 1 through 4. That is your assignment for today. Pages 43, 44, and 45 is your assignment for today. If you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out, write a comment, send me a text. My office hours is from 12 to 2. So if you need questions, text me during that time. I will not answer any times outside of 12 to 2. So please reach out, and I love you, and get started. Bye.